Hey, I'm Coach Janice Washington of the Greensboro Groove, and you're on the record.
Hey, I'm Coach Fox with the Greensboro Groove.
The first road trip weekend ended on a high note. Definitely worked out some kinks along the way, but I definitely feel like for it to be our first back-to-back off day and then another game in a very condensed cycle, I think being able to finish it off the way that we did was a positive thing to take into our return to our home court.
I agree completely.
The biggest difference was the intensity that they came out with. This was their first home game, and we didn't meet that intensity. And one of the things that the coaching staff talked about was being able to find who's going to give us that spark to get us going, where we can find the opportunities for mismatches and where our advantages were. We had moments of time of being able to cut into that lead. I believe we got it down to 11 in the third quarter. We went on a really good scoring run, getting defensive stops and getting baskets, and then we ran out of gas.
Right. I think we talked about it last week as far as, anytime we play a team 3 times, it's going to be very difficult in any league to beat. And Savannah's a great team, great defensive team. I think they came out for their home opener excited, with high energy.
Certainly.
And we just didn't come out instantly to match it.
Well, one of the things that we learned from this road trip is just about our own team. We played a lot of people. We played just about everybody in our first game against Savannah. We played just about everybody in the first half of our game at Jacksonville. And so being able to understand what our own personnel looks like, as well as what deficiencies we have, was certainly a wake-up call for our coaching staff, but also the fight that they have and the resiliency that they showed. Most importantly, I don't think we ever rolled over in any of those games. I think we kept fighting. In the Savannah game, like I said, we got it cut down almost to single digits, but we ran out of gas. In the Jacksonville game, we came all the way back from however many down and tied the score within the last 2 minutes of the game. And so that takes a lot of wind out of your sails to have to fight back from that large of a margin. But I was proud of the effort that they showed, and then to come out in Charlotte and be the team to hit first. Because that was, I think, the difference with our games at Savannah and Jacksonville was that those teams hit first. They hit first and they hit hard, and we had to recover from that. Whereas the trip to Charlotte, it was balanced early, and then once we started to get on our runs and make runs, it was something that Charlotte had to respond to. We weren't the team that was in control.
Right, I agree. The resiliency for sure, and then I think, like Coach said, that the players learned a lot about themselves as well. And then now we've seen, every team. So now I think going into, these next set of games when we are playing the back-to-back, the same teams twice or 3 or 4 times, that the girls are getting more confident within each other and within ourselves as a staff.
It's more a matter of who they are as people in terms of the challenges that they face up to this point in their life, and knowing that in the sport of basketball, you always have an opportunity to continue to fight as long as there's time on the clock, as long as there is time on the clock. And that's all we ask. There's not a 4-point shot, there's not a 30-point shot. You're not gonna, automatically be back in the game. You have to do the things that are necessary to be successful, getting defensive stops, seeing the ball go through the net. So those things are vital, especially when you are down at such a large margin, and then increasing the pace at which you're playing, because you don't have a 40-minute you don't have a 40-minute game anymore. You have to be able to be efficient with your possessions, and you have to be able to get multiple defensive stops back to back to back.
Right. And then I also think the chemistry is continue to grow. And they can kind of see that, like you said, we were down. We don't have any quitters, on the roster. We're not quitters as coaches. So I think that translated, obviously it did the show. Kind of like you said, just goes back to the resiliency and the strength, the mental strength, I think, from top to bottom, starting with, our leader, Coach Jack. Yeah, for me, it felt great. It felt, nobody wants to be down, especially down by 31. So it felt amazing to actually see how they rallied and how they trusted us and put faith in us and faith in each other. So like I said, I do think that they grew from it. Like you said, even though we did lose, I feel like it was a lot of learning opportunities out of it.
Yeah, certainly. Anytime that you have successes and what could potentially be considered failures, there's room for growth. There's opportunities to learn in all of those instances. And I believe that what Coach is talking about with regards to them learning a lot about themselves, with regards to their own resiliency, mental toughness, intestinal fortitude, all of those things, make up and embody what this team was built on. And so being able to, see it in an unfortunate circumstance, nobody wants to be down by 30. It felt amazing to sit back and watch them actually connecting and getting it and supporting each other and just really, really fighting through, it's a lot to say, hey, you're going to be down by this much. This is what you're going to have to do to come back and get into the game. And for them to just go out there. And again, how do you go about the business of eating an elephant? It's one step at a time. Like, it's one bite at a time. It's not going to be one thing immediately evens up the score. It's a lot of factors that go into that, be it the personnel, the rotations, the defense, the offenses that we're running, the packages, all of those things go into that.
Right.
Because of the way that we ended the Jacksonville game, what we talked about is building blocks. We were able to leave that game with building blocks and say, hey, we have to take this momentum with us into the next game. Our shoot around that morning was really high energy, which is what we expect for any shoot around. And it just translated to the game in spite of some logistical challenges. They were able to make the adjustments that we needed they were able to make the adjustments we needed them to make without any hiccups. And that's all you can ask of them.
Right. And I agree. And I do think just playing Charlotte, and, having these both teams in the state of North Carolina, the Greensboro, Charlotte, I think that might be a little bit of, inner city rivalry. So I do think that they were excited to, kind of show out. So I'm proud of them for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think from a defensive standpoint, Maria has been doing a great job rebounding the ball for us. And, with limited substitutions for her, she's able to play a high number of minutes and really be resilient with, making sure that she's cleaning up the defensive side of the ball. I also thought Kristen Williams seems like she's starting to get into her groove. She was really, really cooking when we were down there in Charlotte. And again, Kamaria is always finding her way for double-digit free throw attempts.
Right. I agree. I think it's like the more games we play, they're learning their spots as far as offensively and defensively, and picking and choosing that, to their strengths. So like Coach said, Kristen, it was good to see Kristen come out and have a great game. And then, like you said, Kamaria finding out how to get to the free throw line consistently. So as long as we keep moving like that and, have more than one double-digit scorer, I think we'll continue to get better.
I think how she affects the game is different. I think that she's a player that can impact the game through scoring. She's a really good passer. She does a good job of taking care of the ball in most instances. But I believe that she's someone that other teams have recognized as like, hey, we need to face guard or deny her, because they believe that if she's being denied, that limits what we can do on offense. But we have so many other people, which we showed in this game on Monday against Charlotte, that other people can step up into those roles and be able to perform as we need them to.
Right. And then just on top of that, I do think we talked about it. I think she was our second leading rebounder in those last two games too. So a lot of people don't realize, her being a smaller guard, if she's not scoring, I think she has an effect on the game regardless, and her team knows that as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a great matchup, being able to get them on our home court. They're on a 3-game winning streak right now. And so being able to slow their momentum and what it is that they are doing, we've got to do a much better job defending their guard play, but also be able to be more consistent with our quarterly balance in terms of our offensive output and our defense. And so being able to start the game at a high intensity level and have them recover from what it is that we're doing as opposed to the other way around is going to be important.
Right. Just prepping them, in practice as far as making sure that they're comfortable going into it and confident. And like Coach spoke on earlier, just those last, 4 or 5 minutes when we were playing them, I think is going to carry over the confidence, and our girls are going to feel good about it. Going into, and wanting to win. So I don't think we have to do much. I think they're going to be self-motivated, to kind of get the win.
Yeah.
We just want to see everybody in the stands. We're back at home. We're excited. We believe the fans did a great job. Those first 2 games here we had. We just need the stands full again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly. We want to see you guys here at the Novant Health Fieldhouse. Get your tickets for the game so that we can see you at 4 o'clock on Saturday.